Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I was thinking we're going to talk about another archetype called the Bohemian Feminine Archetype, and I thought Kate Moss would be a perfect example to use in order to understand the Bohemian archetype in the most effective way. So with that being said, I think we should firstly start with what is the Bohemian archetype? So, this is one of the 13 feminine seduction archetypes. The feminine seduction archetypes are created by Aisha K. Fines, which I will link down below. The thing about the Bohemian feminine archetype is that it focuses a lot on women that embrace independence, creativity, and free spiritedness. Traditionally, women are looked as people that are supposed to be very sacrificing, self-sacrificing, stay at home, focus on, their family, putting them first. However, the Bohemian archetype values other things, which are to be independent and free-spirited and not be chained down by society or chained down by expectations. And women are not often encouraged to be free-spirited. They're often not encouraged enough to be independent in a very healthy manner. So I think the Bohemian archetype is really interesting and can be very fun to tap into because it asks us to tap into this side of us that really is about connecting to your own wildness, your most free-spirited energy, which is often very tamed by years of being repressed in society. But if we're able to tap into this, we'll be able to feel more fulfilled and free and just be more at one with ourselves. So I think this is a really good archetype to look at. So with that being said, why is Kate Moss necessarily a good example? I think Kate Moss is good because she is a model that is not the stereotypical type of model, especially not when she first came out in the 90s. Because at that time, the models that were most popular were such as Cindy Crawford and Claudia Schiffer, which were very different types of models. However, with Kate Moss, she was very different. She was shorter, first of all, than a lot of the other models. I think she's 5'5", and the usual models are somewhere between 5'10" and upwards. So already there, she was very different from other people or the expectations of models at that time. And I think that's interesting because it represents a little bit about being against the norm and showing how you look and presenting that as something to be proud of. And I like that fact that with Kate, she's always been different from the usual models. When you think firstly of a supermodel, a lot of people will mention a lot of other names before they mention Kate Moss, just because she has such a uniquely different type of look that she prides herself in. And with that being said, I think that is a big part of the Bohemian archetype, is the fact that they are so free-spirited and they are so uncaring towards what other people think and or how they perceive us. And I think that's incredibly strong to do that, especially as women and when you're in the spotlight, which is something Kate Moss has done for years now, because you will get scrutinized and you will definitely get a lot of media attention. A lot of it could be bad as well. And I think it's really interesting that the Bohemian archetype prides itself on not caring necessarily what people think, but taking pride in how different you are, how creative you are, and just in how you understand your own art, but you don't need other people to understand it as well. So I think that's really, really good. And another thing with the Bohemian archetype is they're very spontaneous. If you have a Bohemian archetype, you'll find yourself, you're often very into spontaneity and you're really into not being so locked down, but rather you choose how you want to spend your days. Or you're probably the person in your friend group who comes up with new ideas every day, and you can never be 100% pinned down or 100% figured out because you're so spontaneous that you even surprise yourself sometimes, and you have the ability to surprise others as well. Kate Moss has been like that for many years now, especially in her younger years. A lot of the media on her then was very controversial. So she was definitely free-spirited in her younger days. And she has seemed to calm down a lot more now that she's been older, which I think is a natural progression of life. You'll find yourself to be more spontaneous and into just being wild and free when you're younger, just because you have this energy. But I think we all have them even when we get older. I just think that when we get older, we realize even more how harsh other people's opinions are and expectations are. So that's why we kind of tend to let that inner spontaneity die a little. But I think that's what Bohemian Archetype is so beautiful, because it encourages us to keep going with spontaneity, keep going with being free, and believe in your ability to want to be adaptable and not so rigid all the time. And I also think there is something very attractive about being free-spirited. Apparently, a lot of men like that about the Bohemian archetype, is the fact that they are so spontaneous and not predictable. And I think that kind of connects with the mysterious part of you, because if people cannot figure you, you kind of end up becoming this Rubik's Cube that takes so much time and effort to get to know, and that keeps things very interesting in both relationships and platonic relationships, friendships, romantic relationships especially. And with Kate Moss, she has been the muse for so many designers and artists, and so many men have written songs about her, because I think there is something about this free-spirited energy that is so attractive to other people. So if you're able to cultivate more on that and understand how to be like that a little bit, I think that can definitely make you more radiant as a person, and people will be more attracted towards you because they're so fascinated by you, and they seem to not be able to figure you out 100%, which is kind of what we want people to be like, or to feel like. Another thing is independence. So to the Bohemian archetype, independence is extremely important. That is one of the most important traits and values of the Bohemian archetype, to not be, as I said before, restrained, but be able to be as free and as open as they want, without having to answer to anybody or have to make other people understand them. And I can definitely understand that as well. In Kate's case, she has been in a lot of relationships. It makes me feel like she has never wanted to 100% settle down, maybe. She's been in so many different relationships. She has had fun, and she doesn't seem like the type of person that was defined by her relationships in any way. It was more like the relationships were interesting because she was the one that was in them. So in that way, when you're the Bohemian archetype, I think you choose when you want to be in a relationship, and you don't let society tell you that, okay, you've reached this certain age, so you should be in a relationship. I feel like the Bohemian archetype would be like, no, I'm only going to be in one if I want to be in one, and if that's the right person for me, and if it's the right time for me. I'm not going to let other external factors choose for me when I should be settled down or anything like that. They're extremely self-aware and self-confident, that they don't need to look for validation. They have that in them, in their own energy. So next but not least, creativity. The Bohemian archetype, as I've kind of said a little bit more before, but the Bohemian archetype prides themselves on being very creative people. So in Kate's case, she's obviously very fashionable. Fashion is a big thing in her world, but her form of dressing has always been very different. She's been the pioneer of the boho-chic, which means that she's definitely gone against what was typical of the time and created this new way of dressing, being the starter of something. And I think that's where the creativity comes. So pride yourself on being creative. Some people say they're not creative naturally, and I don't really believe that. I think we all have ideas and thoughts and opinions, and I think we all have ways to express ourselves, but to do it creatively, you kind of have to practice on that. So I would find something you find interesting, learn a little bit about it, and then use it as a creative outlet. Whether that is, I don't know, sewing, singing, dancing, whatever it is, I think it's a beautiful thing to really tap into your creative side, because it can be very healthy for you mentally, physically, and spiritually as well. So by connecting to your creative side, you're able to really tap into that Bohemian archetype, which is all about being able to express yourself in a creative way and being as open and authentic as you can, and being focused on being free and free-spirited and spontaneous. So I hope you guys enjoyed my video. Please comment down below what you thought and what else you want me to do next time. And I also saw I just recently reached over 1,000 subscribers, and I want to say thank you so much for that. I never thought I would reach that much, but I'm so grateful, and I can't wait for the next videos I'm gonna make. And like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye.